we really see ChatGPT as being this huge shift. And I kind of wanted to get
Sure.
your impression about what is different this time with ChatGPT and why it's such a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question, right? It feels like it was the first tool of its kind to introduce like such a span of like a greater span of language tools or capabilities, I think, right, than previous, like what people refer to as like chatbots, right? Like we've all interacted with the um, you know, translated threads of chatbots, right? Where they try to enter like similar or like topics when you're trying to get in contact with like a customer service agent for an airline or what have you, right? But this is the first one that actually kind of gives like that infinite potential, maybe that others maybe haven't up to this point, right? Like you can even, I mean, like, for lack of better terms, like by asking a question in a different manner to ChatGPT, you can get a different answer, right? Even though maybe they're similar or they're like, it really is like language processing that is more applicable to how humans interact, and how they're responsive to questions, and how they interpret language, right?
I loved what you said. It's the first time that we've really seen a chatbot that almost seems to have infinite potential. And you're right. How we interact with it, what prompt we give that system, dictates how well that bot responds back to us. And in old chatbots, you had to be very clear and specific to what you wanted that bot to do. And if you weren't within that narrow window of how you phrase something, it got lost, it got confused, and it failed. We're
Yep.
not seeing that with ChatGPT. And I think you're right. For the first time, we're seeing any user input being processed in natural language, understood by the chatbot, and responded in kind. I think that's spot
Yeah,
on.
totally.
Yeah. And, obviously that's a big deal because of the limitless number of potential applications for the bot. For the first time, I think we're seeing a true human machine interface that allows us to use natural language to interact with our computers.
Yep.
So, one of the questions I have for you is how are you using ChatGPT?
Yeah, admittedly, I feel like I utilize it a lot for, frankly, like not maybe research-based questions aren't necessarily
It's a
the
great
answer, but
topic.
like that's kind of how I've been utilizing it, right?
Yep.
When you're thinking through um, strategy and how do we even like what we talk about on a regular basis, how do we best apply automation to our clients or prospective clients, and what opportunities exist out there for them to utilize it? Those are the types of questions that I'm utilizing ChatGPT for, because it's pulling in information, and data that I may not have an opportunity to see otherwise unless I'm scrounging the webs and really have time to dedicate to thinking it, right? Like every day is like you're doing 8,000 things, right? And you don't always have the time that you want to be able to dedicate. And so it's a quick resource to be able to search something up and feel like you got a thoughtful, human facing answer, right? Like that's the part that I think is a differentiator. Like when we think about CFOs and how we can introduce automation to better accelerate their back office processes, like and it's based on industry, and like how do you even engage in this industrial revolution of sorts? Like how do you engage in this digital transformation, and like where do you even begin, right? Like, and those are the types of questions that I'm like, yes, like let's utilize Chat GPT to think about how we're going to frame that up. How are we going to, what other resources are out there that maybe I don't know about? And frankly, kind of stay up in terms on it. So it is definitely like a research tool for me, in kind of my day to day and how what other information I can be resourceful in gathering to support my clients further, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's a great use case. It sounds like from what I just heard, it's an enabler. It's a work enabler of
Absolutely.
efficiency, of being able to consolidate information into a consumable format that not only helps us get our work done, but helps us get our work done better.
Yeah, it's impactful, right? Like it's not giving you here's a link, go take a look, right?
Right.
It's based on this information, here's what I've deduced, right? And it's thoughtful and it's an impactful manner, and it's oftentimes wording things better than I can, because my limited language and processing is finite, right?
Right.
Based on my childhood, my learning, my experiences.
Yeah, in a past video, we actually not defined that, but we had leveraged the concept that the internet provided information, but ChatGPT provides knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
We're now taking it one step further from just passing a whole bunch of links for us to consume, consolidate, and make sense of, to being able to ask a question and get a direct answer immediately. And that's a
Yeah.
huge difference.